Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Awesome. Well, today we're going deep into the world of SAP S4HANA Finance.
Sounds complex.
It can be, but that's why we're here, right? To break it down.
Uh,
Specifically, we're tackling those two key roles you hear about all the time. Functional consultants
Right.
and technical consultants.
Yes, the dynamic duo of SAP implementations.
Exactly. Think about it this way. You're a company and you want to implement this super powerful financial system. Like, it's basically the brains of your entire financial operation.
The central nervous system, almost.
Yeah. So who do you call for help with that? And what exactly do they do?
It's like assembling a team of specialists,
I like that. A superhero team for your finances.
each member with their own unique set of skills.
Okay, so before we meet our heroes, let's lay the groundwork. What exactly is this SAP S4HANA Finance thing anyway?
So imagine a system that connects every single piece of your company's finances, all the departments, all the data, in real time.
Okay, that's a lot of connections.
It is. And that's what we call an ERP system. It brings everything together.
Got it. Everything's talking to each other.
And SAP S4HANA Finance is the most advanced version of that. It takes all those complex financial processes and streamlines them,
So we're talking like general ledger, accounts payable, all that fun stuff.
all of it. It's like upgrading from an old clunky calculator to a super-powered financial dashboard.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal. No more spreadsheets flying everywhere.
Exactly. Everything's in one place, connected and up to date.
Now that's what I call efficient. So where do our heroes come in? Let's start with the functional consultant. What do they actually do?
They're like the bridge between the business world and all that complex SAP stuff. They need to understand how the company works inside and out.
So like how they process invoices, how they track expenses.
Way more than that, actually.
Yeah.
We're talking about understanding their financial goals, the regulations they have to follow, their key performance indicators.
Wow, so they really have to dig deep into the company's DNA.
Exactly. They need to see the big picture.
So it's not just about the how, but also the why behind the company's finances.
Precisely.
Okay, so they've got this deep understanding of the business. What do they do with that knowledge?
They translate it all into how SAP S/4HANA Finance should be set up.
It's like they're building a custom-made suit for the company.
That's a great analogy.
So tailoring the system to fit their exact needs.
Exactly. They also train users on how to use the system and troubleshoot any problems that come up.
So they're like the coaches, too, making sure everyone knows the plays.
And they're always there to help if someone fumbles the ball.
Okay, I'm starting to see how crucial their role is. But what about all the behind-the-scenes stuff, like the actual building of the system? That's where the technical consultant comes in, right?
Right. They're the ones who make all the magic happen behind the curtain. They speak the language of code, specifically ABP, which is what SAP is built on.
So if the functional consultant is the architect, the technical consultant is the construction crew.
I like that. They take those blueprints and make them a reality.
Awesome. But it's not just about following instructions, right? They have to get creative, too.
You got it. Let's say the company wants to track their sustainability metrics alongside their financials, something completely new that SAP doesn't offer out of the box.
Okay, so something pretty unique to that company.
Exactly. And the technical consultant would need to design and build that,
Wow, so they need serious coding skills.
plus a lot of problem-solving ability.
It's like they're not just building a house, they're inventing new tools to build it with.
And they have to think outside the box sometimes.
So we've got these two roles, both vital to a successful SAP implementation. But they seem pretty different, like apples and oranges almost.
True. Their focus is different, their skills are different.
But they have to work together somehow, right?
Absolutely. It's like trying to bake a cake with only flour or only eggs. You need both to get the right result.
So two sides of the same SAP coin.
Exactly. And that's what we'll explore next.
How do they actually work together?
It's all about communication and collaboration.
It sounds like a recipe for success in any project, really.
It is. And we'll dive deeper into that in just a bit.
Okay, can't wait to hear more. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back after a short break. Okay, so the company is swimming in expense reports. They're drowning, really.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Of course. So our SAP Dream Team swoops in. What's step one?
Well, the functional consultant takes the lead. They meet with the people who deal with these expenses every day. The employees, the managers, everyone in the trenches.
So they're getting their hands dirty, really understanding how things actually work.
Exactly. They have to understand the process from start to finish. Where are the pain points? What's slowing things down? What does the ideal process look like?
So it's like detective work almost, uncovering the clues to build a better system.
It is. And it's not just about the numbers. It's about the people, too. I once worked with a team that was so used to their old spreadsheets, they were almost afraid to switch to a new system.
So change management is a big part of it too.
Definitely. You have to bring people along on the journey.
Interesting. So they've got this deep understanding of the current process, warts and all. What happens next?
That's where the functional consultant's knowledge of SAP really comes into play. Specifically, the different modules within SAP S/4HANA Finance.
Like those separate but connected hubs we talked about earlier.
Right. There's financial accounting, controlling, asset accounting, and many more.
So each one's like a specialized tool in the SAP toolbox.
Exactly. And the functional consultant has to figure out which tools to use and how to configure them to meet the company's specific needs.
It's like tailoring a suit or building a custom house.
Perfect analogies. They're not just implementing SAP, they're customizing it.
Okay, so they've figured out which modules to use, and they've started to configure them. What does that actually look like?
Well, they'll use different tools, like the SAP GUI.
That's the classic SAP interface, right?
Right. And there are newer tools like Fiori apps.
Those are more user-friendly, I hear.
They are. More visual and intuitive. But the core idea is the same. They're defining how the system should work, setting up workflows, defining data flows, all that good stuff.
So they're building the foundation of the new system.
Exactly. They're creating the blueprint for a smoother, more efficient process.
Okay, so the stage is set. The blueprint is ready. Now the technical consultant steps in.
Right. And they'll start by looking at what can be done with SAP's standard functionality.
Because SAP can already do a lot right out of the box.
It can, but sometimes you need to go further.
Like if the company has a really unique approval process or they need a specific report that SAP doesn't offer.
Exactly. That's when custom development comes in.
So the technical consultant puts on their coding hat.
They do. And they have a few options. They might use something called a user exit or a B8I.
Those sound pretty technical.
They are. They're basically points in the SAP code where you can add your own custom logic.
So they're like little hooks where you can attach your own bells and whistles.
That's a good way to put it. Or they might build a completely new program from scratch using ABAP.
So it's like adding an extension to a house.
Right.
Or building a custom feature into a car.
You got it. They're making the system do exactly what the company needs it to do.
But I imagine this requires a lot of back and forth with the functional consultant.
Absolutely. It's a constant collaboration.
Because the functional consultant knows what the business needs, and the technical consultant knows how to make it happen in SAP.
Exactly. They're like two sides of the same brain.
Working together to solve the puzzle.
And once the development is done, they move on to testing.
So they make sure everything works as expected.
Right. They'll test the new workflows, the custom reports, make sure everything's running smoothly.
It's like the dress rehearsal before the big show.
Exactly. And even after the system goes live.
The collaboration continues.
Often, yes. There might be training for users. Or ongoing support and maintenance.
So it's really a long-term partnership.
It is, and a very rewarding one.
Okay, so we've seen how they work together to build and implement the system, but what happens when they hit a snag? When they encounter a problem they can't solve on their own?
Well, that's where the power of the SAP community really shines.
Okay, tell me more about that. So they hit a wall, they've tried everything they can think of?
Well, it happens. Even the best consultants run into problems they haven't seen before.
Right, because SAP is so vast.
Right, exactly. It's a huge system with tons of moving parts.
So what's their secret weapon in those situations?
The SAP community.
Okay, so they phone a friend.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
The SAP world is incredibly collaborative. There are online forums, user groups, conferences. People are always sharing their knowledge and experiences.
So it's like a global network of SAP experts.
Exactly. You're never really alone when you're working with SAP.
That's reassuring. But it also sounds like you need to be comfortable asking for help.
You do. And being able to explain your problem clearly.
So communication skills are key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a willingness to learn from others.
So our stuck consultant might post their problem on a forum.
Right. And chances are someone out there has encountered something similar before.
And they can offer advice or a solution.
Exactly. It's amazing how much knowledge is shared within the SAP community.
It really is. But it also sounds like you need to be pretty resourceful.
You do. You have to be comfortable doing your own research and not giving up easily.
So curiosity and persistence are essential qualities for any SAP consultant.
Absolutely. And a love of learning. because SAP is constantly evolving,
Right, new modules are being added all the time.
and new technologies are emerging. It's a field where you'll never be bored.
I'm getting this picture of lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Constant problem solving. It sounds pretty exciting, actually.
It is, and very rewarding. You get to see the real-world impact of your work.
So if someone listening is thinking, hey, this sounds like me, what advice would you give them? Where should they start?
Well, first I'd ask them, which side of SAP are you more drawn to?
Right, the functional side or the technical side?
Exactly. Do you love analyzing business processes? Or do you get excited about coding and building solutions?
So figure out your passion first.
Right. And then there are tons of resources to help you get started.
Like what?
Well, for aspiring functional consultants, I'd recommend brushing up on finance and accounting.
So learn the basics of debits and credits.
Exactly. And there are online courses, books, even free resources from SAP.
Awesome. And for those leaning towards the technical side,
Definitely start with ABAP programming.
that's the main language for SAT development, right?
It is. And there are great online tutorials and even boot camps.
So there's a learning path for everyone.
There is. And the best part is, once you're in the SAP world, you're part of a global community of experts.
Always there to support you and help you grow.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the basics of SAP S/4HANA Finance to the specific roles involved, and even some tips for those who want to join this exciting field.
It's been a great deep dive.
It has. And for everyone listening, we hope you learned something new today. So next time you hear those three letters, SAP, you'll know there's a whole world of expertise behind them. A world of problem solvers, innovators, and collaborators, working together to make businesses run better. Until next time, happy SAPing, everyone.